Right here. Okay, take two. Okay, I typed this out so I don't have to wing it. Oh dear, the pain, the pain. If you knew Victor even reasonably well, you will get the reference. If that quote from Dr. Smith of Lost in Space does not compute, Victor would be very disappointed. I first met Victor almost 20 years ago when he came to a Long Island Catholic Halloween dance with his then girlfriend Anne, dressed as Captain Kirk of Star Trek. I'm sensing a theme. We became friends rather quickly. When he and Anne broke up, he didn't come around to Long Island events any longer, as he had moved to Central Jersey to be close to his job with Panasonic. We kept in touch by phone for a while, but this was still a time when most people didn't have computers or email or texting.
Hey,
come on in.
Just wanted to pay respect to everybody.
This little eulogy is going on.
His neighbor from across the street.
Oh.
He's just saying
Said a couple of things. It was stuff from the beginning. Oh, the pain.
Oh, the pain.
Okay, we kept in touch by phone, but this was before email or texting, and so we eventually fell out of touch. We happily reconnected when I ran into him at a Chiller Theater convention where he was proudly displaying his home-built, Lost in Space B9 robot and rubbing elbows with the entire cast of Lost in Space. He was in his glory. Oh, how much joy that robot gave to him and all the Lost in Space fans in attendance. Everyone wanted to have their pictures taken with the robot and with him. He became a minor celebrity. Soon, he and his robot were in constant demand at various conventions throughout the years. Often, he would have to lug the thing that weighed over 200 pounds in the back of his van and drive well over 100 miles to bring it to a show out of state. He was happy to do it, and he often got paid only with hotel, lodging, and gas money. He didn't mind, as he loved to show it off and see the glee on the fans' faces when they got to touch it and have their pictures taken with it. Fortunately, he was eventually able to make some money doing his labor of love. I remember one time when the TV show The Comic Book Men wanted him to bring it on their show and be interviewed about his hobby. He wanted to do it so badly, but he was too nervous about going on television. In fact, he even asked me if I would go on the show with him as a security blanket. I could introduce you as another super Lost in Space fan, Joe. He turned the appearance down, but he and the robot were in constant demand. In fact, I remember a small convention in cast member Mark Goddard's hometown of Boston. Mark Goddard, who played Don West, asked Victor if he would mind bringing the robot to Massachusetts to help him boost his book signings. Of course, Victor said yes, despite the long drive from New Jersey to Boston. Once he had said yes to Mark, he called me and said he hadn't even discussed money before committing to this venture. He told me he would do it for nothing, but needed some compensation as he was currently out of work, and it would be something like a 16-hour day to drive there and back, plus allowing time to assemble and disassemble the robot. He actually felt bad asking for any compensation. Another time they wanted him to display it at the Space Museum in Washington, D.C. for some special event. They told him there would be no payment except traveling expenses. He had to turn them down, but again, he felt bad saying no to such an honor. Victor was well known in the community as well as the B9 Builders Club. Once we got reacquainted at that convention, we became best of friends, like brothers from another mother. We spoke by phone several times a month, and if a call lasted less than 90 minutes, there was something wrong. He would often text a message or start our conversation with Joe, I promise this will be a quick call, no more than an hour. It rarely was. Early on, Vic would pepper our conversations with obscure Lost in Space references. It would be like, remember in the episode Hunter's Moon when John said such and such to Dr. Smith? And I would be like, I can't be sure, Victor. I don't know the show as well as you do. Eventually, I got up to speed. It was the least I could do. We often called each other Doctor in honor of Dr. Smith. The Lost in Space references were always there. One particularly hot day, I got a text from him saying simply, Don, break out the heat shields. I am proud to say I got the reference. The episode was called The Hungry Sea. One thing about Victor in person and on the phone that amazes me is how he always made me laugh. Now, you have to realize that among my friends, I am the funny one. People expect me to say or do something comical, but Victor was one of the few people who could actually make me laugh. We had many laughs together on the phone. Sometimes they were based on reality, like, dates that had gone bad. But other times, they were pure silliness. One example comes to mind. It started out as Victor telling me that so many of his job interviews are now done by Skype on the computer. Well, from there, it went off on a tangent until we were discussing what it would be like to have a proctology examination done in the same way. This was in a purely deadpan way he took it to a place that I can only tell you about individually. Still cracks me up. We were like two schoolboys. Another thing I remember about Victor was his generosity. Anytime I would invite him to my house for a barbecue or a dinner, he would bring me a piece of Lost in Space memorabilia. Posters, autographed pictures. I felt bad taking them, but he insisted. A couple of years ago, on my 60th birthday, he wanted to bring the full-size robot to my party so my guests could have their pictures taken with it. But a snowstorm made that impossible. However, he did give me a recently released battery-operated antimatter robot and a reproduction of a Lost in Space prop called the Solar Wrench. I promptly put the Solar Wrench on his nipple and twisted it, much to his and everyone else's amusement. Schoolboys. You can see that lovely moment on YouTube, along with several other videos of Victor. Let me tell you about another video I posted on YouTube. Victor was at my house playing guitar and singing the song Something by the Beatles. And I had my sister and some of my friends, who might actually be here, I had my sister and some of my friends throw their bras and panties at him. I even threw a pair of my boxer briefs at him. Victor never missed a beat. He continued to play and sing with all these articles of clothing hanging off him like a Christmas tree. One other thing I wanted to add was the great love Vic had for his family. So many times it would come up in our conversations. He was especially pained by the loss of his parents and spoke about them often. And I also know how much he appreciated our friendship and never missed an opportunity to tell me so, and vice versa. Victor was a man of faith and loved the Lord and tried his best to make Sunday Mass whenever he felt up to it. Well, I've said enough. I hope this tribute to Victor is about good memories and shared laughs and love. I prefer to celebrate his memory today rather than mourn his passing. He would want it that way. Thank you.
Amen.
That's it. Thank you. Carry on.
Thank you so much for sharing those memories this morning. Thank you. almost made me want to take off my bra.
I know. I'm just gonna do it for the second time.
If he was here, he would have loved it.
Well, if he was there.
Good job with that, all right.
Good job,
Good
Joey.
job.
Yeah.
Very nice.